Anyway, now I'm going to redirect the conversation to uh black fatigue. And for those of y'all who don't know what that is, there is a term going around the internet. I guess I'm going to do it for the algorithm today. And when I cut this video up, called black fatigue. And what does that mean? Basically, people are tired of the issue is twofold. People are tired of white guilt and black people constantly guilting white people over slavery and making white people feel like they owe them something over slavery, or that they have to be quiet, or they have to accept blatant disrespect and racial slurs and comments about the white race being made in their face, all the while white people say nothing and black people say, well, I can't be racist because I don't have any power. No, racism has to do with your attitudes, hatred, how you feel about somebody. In terms of whether or not you have the power to do something about how you feel, then that is when we move into what is called discrimination. So, for example, you might be an employer and you decide you don't want to hire white people because you're a racist. Now, not only are you racist, but you are practicing discrimination. So, when you don't have the power to practice discrimination, because you don't have anything that anybody wants access to, that doesn't negate you from the fact that you are a racist that hates a group of people solely because of their skin color or because you are projecting things from the past onto them. Prejudice is when you might have a preconceived notion about a group of people, or you might think something is true about them that isn't true, but you don't necessarily hate them. It's just you have a misconception, but it's not associated with strong feelings of hatred. That is the difference between a prejudice and being racist. One is malicious and with ill intent. One is just simply due to ignorance. And you're willing to fix your misconceptions upon further evidence. Okay. So a lot of white people are tired of being disrespected, being made to feel like they owe somebody something. And then furthermore, a lot of white people are just simply tired of the ghetto ratchet behaviors. And then when people point it out, then we try to make it seem like this is the conversation. Oh, well, there's bad people or ghetto people in every race. Yeah, but if we pull up the statistics of proportionality of who commits the most violent crime in the United States, it's not even close. It's black men. I'm sorry. I did not create the reality. It is just what it is. But then on top of that, when people say things like black people don't tip, me as a black person living around black people, going out with certain black women and being completely embarrassed. This is not even just a ghetto black women. There have been a few times in my life where I have went out with bougie black women and just because she was being cheap, she would write tip, get a better attitude for the waitress. And it's like, man, you asked her to do the most. This woman worked her ass off. And because you want to be cheap just because you don't want to tip, you tell this person, get a better attitude. Like, I know they were so pissed. I used to be a server. And it's like you get two extremes. Either you get black people that don't want to tip at all. And then you every now and then you will get those black people who tip really well because they feel like they have to make up for the entirety of the black race because they know the majority of their people don't tip well. Versus with other races of people, you can have it like the middle, the norm. They don't have to, they don't feel like they have to over tip. Most of the time they are going to tip. and it's normal, and they don't feel like they have to make up for the entirety of their race that doesn't hit. Anyway, dealing with nasty attitudes. I can't tell you, like, that's why I have most of my female friends are black, but I can't hang out with every black woman, because I like when people say the attitudes are nasty, they are. And even my black girlfriends who I'm really close with, they say the same thing. Like, dang, I didn't realize that these women be so unpleasant and walking around with bad spirits and bad attitudes. Why are the statistics saying the opposite? Well, send it to me. I'll look it up. Okay. So I'm going to watch this video. This is on the Cartier family's page, and they were reacting to this black pastor called Pastor Manning. I just found out about him this week. Y'all, this man is off the chain. Like, so he's apparently a pastor in New York. He sounds more like a Southern preacher. I wonder if he has Southern roots. Let's see.
We need to move beyond color. I'm not about that, but y'all raised it. If you start it, I'll end it for you. Don't start nothing, it won't be nothing. But we got a problem. Black people got a problem. Now, we can move to color blindness and always look at the man by the content of his character, never the color of his skin. I'm down for that. You get my vote. Yay and amen. I'm for that. But before we get there, we need to hear some truth. Black people and white folk. Black people got a problem. And it's a God problem. When black people see the world, I don't care. You can train them. You can train a black man to be a physician. You can train him to be an astrophysicist. You can train him to be a lawyer, but you can't train him to understand the world. He doesn't know. I'm telling you. There's not 2 cents worth of difference between a mass murderer. There's not 2 cents of difference between a petty thief that's locked away in prison than a black doctor when it comes to understanding the world. Listen.
Didn't I say that? I've been preaching this message. You can have, again, I'm going back to this conversation that I was having about Jolanda Jones and the completely wrong approach that they're taking in the Texas Senate, and all this shoulda, coulda, woulda, and thinking on a childish mentality, right? I have met so many black people, especially like black women with multiple college degrees. And because they can state like facts about particular things, or they might be well knowledge in a particular area, they do no study about people beyond that. And when I say people, I'm talking about pragmatism. I'm talking about what motivates people. I'm talking about the economy. It's like, in order for you to be a well-rounded person, not only do you need to be well knowledge in your subject matter that you're working with, but you also need to understand basic economics, right? Basic economics that don't require rocket science and mental gymnastics. Basic economics. It doesn't require you going to college for 4 years to study the economy. Basic economics. Profit motives. The laws of power. I know so many black people who will invest in reading all these books about the black struggle, but you won't take the time to sit down, read Robert Greene, and dissect it so that you can understand how people operate, so that you won't be out here making shoulda, coulda, woulda arguments. And that so that you can figure out how people are going to move and be 2 or 3 steps ahead of them. A lot of black people don't understand that nobody respects victim mentality. You don't beg. You don't live for on your knees and beg and beg and beg and beg for people to give you something, or to acknowledge you, or to see you as an equal, and then expect respect. Never in the history of humanity has that happened. It doesn't happen in your relationship with your children. It doesn't happen in your relationship with your son. It doesn't happen in a teacher-student dynamic. It doesn't exist. But Black people expect to behave this way en masse and the rest of the world to respect us, when the only thing people respect is money. That's it. People respect you shutting up, being a real big stepper, doing what you say that you're going to do, conducting yourself in a way that is respectable, and getting some money. Because all money is green money. It doesn't matter if it's in a brown hand, a black hand, a white hand, or a yellow hand. Black people have yet to figure this out. We want to do everything else but stick to the basics. And you can't explain this to the vast majority. You just can't. Nor will they ever understand. So he's not lying here.
Listen.
Damn. That's crazy.
We got to deal with this. And we need to begin to acknowledge it, talk about it, ask God to help us, because only God can help Black people where they are. Black people had Africa, that big old continent over there.
And in the Bible, it talks about a reprobate mind. So when he said only God can help Black people, that's true, because the majority have a reprobate mind. There are so many, again, I want to talk about this specifically to my Black people with all these degrees, but you still choose to be a lapdog of the DNC. You still want to keep other Black people on the Democrat plantation. That doesn't mean you have to be a Republican. You don't have to be a Republican or a Trump supporter. But at this point, to still be on the Democrat plantation, something is wrong in your mind. Because we are in the age of information. Something is not right. I can respect you being Black. I respect the person who's Black pilled and says voting doesn't matter over a Black person that is still going hard in behind the Democrat Party. Something is not right with you in your mind, because you have a reprobate mind. A lot of y'all think you're smart, but Albert Einstein said the greatest measure of intelligence is your ability to change. A lot of y'all have an inability to change and adapt, and you will be riding in behind the Democratic Party until your last day here on this earth, like y'all's mothers and grandmothers. A lot of y'all will get to the age of 70, 80, and still be talking about racism, white people, and hating Republicans and Black people who vote Republican.
They never built one boat that was seaworthy. Not one. There's not one monument in Africa, in all of Africa. I know you're talking about Egypt. Egypt is not Africa.
Y'all, I don't know if y'all saw that debate between Candace Owens and Nick Fuentes. And he was basically saying the same thing that Pastor Manning is saying, that Black people didn't invent anything that was of major consequence to human society, like the wheel, for example. And she brought up Egypt, and he was like, that no, I'm talking about your ancestors. I'm talking about sub-Saharan Africans. And this is how insecure Black people in the United States are of African descent, are of their accomplishments, that we have to tie ourselves to a civilization that racially and ethnically is not us. Those people look nothing like us, have a completely different culture than us. Those are Arabs. It's documented history as to why those people will look the way that they do. Because we can't point to any examples from where our people actually are and talk about a great society that was inventing things and advancing the world. That's how insecure we are as a people. We always got to talk about Egypt, knowing damn well you ain't no Egyptian, or that you didn't descend from a line of Egyptians. Your folks are West African, boo. Sub-Saharan West African.
There are no great cities.
Then it turned into we are the Israelites. And then it turned into, matter of fact, the Indian, the Native Americans, we the Native Americans. We the real Native Americans. The story changes every like 3 or 4 years.
Were built even before the first colonization of white people coming to the shores of Africa or the slave ships. Black men built nothing. No sewer system. No house.
This is not what we're talking about. This is not what we're talking about, Jamal. We're talking about inventing things of consequences. Yes, I know Madam C.J. Walker invented the perm and the hot comb. I know that George Washington Carver invented peanut butter and ways to use peanuts. We are talking about things like the cell phone, the airplane, the car, electricity. This is a whole nother level. Nothing even close to that magnitude came out of Africa or from Black people. And it's just a fact of the matter.
Houses above one level, and none of them made out of stone. All of them made out of grass and wood. Black men, before the white man ever got to Africa, the worst thing that could ever happen to South Africa was when they gave it to Nelson Mandela and black folk. That was a great nation. Now, notwithstanding apartheid was wrong, we all know it's wrong. I'm against it. There should have been some other resolution, though, than turning it over to Nelson Mandela. Disease.
And now all the white people are leaving. What do y'all think is going to happen? I'm not one of those people who think the white person's bath water is see-through. But like, let's be very clear. All you need to do is look at the rampant corruption of all the other Black-run nations in Africa to understand what's about to happen in South Africa.
AIDS and crime is running wild in Johannesburg. They're killing one another over there. They're dying of sickness. The government is...
Look at what's happening in Haiti.
Mismanaged. The people who ran the nation are now leaving the nation because black folk don't know how to run no nation.
Again, Jamal, the stoplight. Who invented the electricity for that stoplight to even be possible? Like, the stoplight is nowhere near on par as the airplane, electricity, cars, the internet, computers, and cell phones. It's a great invention. It makes people safer. But it's nowhere near those inventions. These inventions essentially set us on a different course, set humanity on an entire different course. Because of these inventions, we were able to industrialize more rapidly in 200 years than we ever have in known human history, right? That we know of. And that's what I'm saying. Y'all gotta be able to. I ain't even gonna get into that.
That's crazy.
They don't know how, and we need to admit it. I know you don't like it, but you need to stop shucking and jiving. We got a problem. Nigeria produces oil every year, yet the children over there are hungry and pot-bellied and walking barefoot. We got a problem. You talk about
Chat GP per capita. So the question that I ask is proportionally, which racial group of people in the United States commits the most crime? Which racial group commits the most violent crime in the United States proportionally? Let me blow this up so that you can see it. So there'll be no, confusion about it. So y'all don't think I'm just going on a racist rant here. Hopefully y'all can see this. Raw numbers, FBI 2023. According to FBI race data, white individuals account for 53.5 of violent crime arrests. Black or African American individuals account for 42.6. Why is that a problem? Because we are only 14% of the population. We are a minority. And when I say we're a minority, it's not a situation where like 55% of the country is white and then 45% of the country is African American. No, we're a small minority in this country. No, the US population is 59% white, non-Hispanic, and I'm sorry, we're even lesser percentage of the population than what I thought, 12 to 13% Black. When adjusted for population, Black Americans are overrepresented in violent crime arrests. Example, they make up 13% of US population, but 40 to 55% of homicide, which is the worst kind of violent crime that you can commit, homicide arrest. White Americans are underrepresented relative to their share of the population. Homicide, Black individuals are responsible for 55.9 of known homicide offenses in 2019. Robbery, Black individuals are arrested for robbery at rates over 8 times higher than white individuals. And the argument is always made that, oh, it's because the criminal justice system doesn't arrest white individuals. Now, there's always room for a slight margin of error, but come on, it's not that big of a disparity. And then y'all be trying to act like y'all go to the hood and never see these type of activities taking place. That's the thing that really blows my mind, that you can get dropped off in any hood and see, like, yep, it sounds about right. Assault and rape. These crimes show less disparity, but still higher rates per capita among Black individuals. These stats reflect arrest rates, not convictions, and do not necessarily prove inherent tendencies. Experts emphasize the influence of poverty and inequality, all the normal excuses. Now, again, when you go at the conviction rates, based on I cannot spell. Y'all, it's these nails. Okay. Let's see what the conviction rates say. In New York State, 2019, Black individuals were convicted at approximately 3.1 times the rate of white individuals. Rarely to their share of residential population, Black persons constituted 62% of convictions, despite being a smaller share of the population. So the conviction rates are even worse. Black Americans are significantly more likely to be wrongfully convicted. They make up 53% of exonerations, despite being only about 13.6% of the US population. Well, that makes sense. If you're going to prison at a higher rate, then you're going to make up a larger percentage of the exonerations. So, like, yeah, you are going to have situations where you get the wrong guy. Black individuals were incarcerated at a rate of 901 per 100,000 compared to 181 per 100,000 for white individuals. Hispanics were at 434 per 100,000. So, like, again, if this is about race things, why aren't Hispanics convicted at just as high as a rate as Black people? If this is about white people being racist, why aren't Hispanics committing crimes or being falsely accused or being arrested at the same rates as Black people? If this is just
Zimbabwe now with Mugabe, we got a problem, black folk. And forget about Zimbabwe and South Africa, Nigeria. Look at what y'all have done in Harlem. You can't even.
Jamal, we do have a culture. The culture is rap music, degeneracy, prioritizing fun, $800 Balenciagas, and not paying for your child that's failing in these $800 Balenciagas for a tutor. We have a culture. Don't get me wrong. I love to have fun with Black people. Not super ghetto. Like if it's like a middle class bougetto atmosphere, I love to have fun with Black people. I do. But then I always have to be super selective when it comes time to actually handle business. I know the vast majority ain't built for it. So I gotta only deal with certain ones.
Hold on to Harlem. We got a problem. Black folk don't understand the world. You can get mad with me all you want. You can say what you, but you can't prove me wrong. Now, I'm not saying this because I hate black folk. I'm saying it because I love you enough to tell the truth. And the only person going to ever help us get out of the situation is going to be God. There's something wrong with the black man's mind. There's something wrong with his mind. He does not understand the world. He doesn't. I don't care if he learned medicine.
He said they don't understand the world. He don't care if he understands medicine.
Wow.
And again, you will see the most college educated Black person who, when you try to break politics down in terms of basic economics, basic human motivation, it's not clicking. It's not clocking. Something is not working. Their mind automatically goes to, I'm going to spew MSNBC talking points. And then when they are presented with evidence, facts, and information contrary to those talking points that they have not heard, so they don't have a counter argument for it, they immediately go into meltdown mode. I was talking to one of my other Black conservative female friends, and she was saying, like, I was talking to two actually, and I talked to them at different times. She was like, girl, it's like the demons in their spirit get riled up. And I had explained to them, no, they're having a malfunction. The programming is malfunctioning. They're not prepared. They're not prepared. So then that's when they start throwing the ad hominem attacks. Then I've seen some of the most educated Black people start threatening to fight people just because you can't articulate and refute a point that you disagree with. They malfunction. The programming can't handle it.
Astrology.
So what is she writing down?
I don't
She's
know,
back there
bro.
writing something.
No, I'm really like the old people in the back is funny too.
Jamal,
Oh my
why?
god,
both
bro.
of them behind.
Hold on. And Black, this is your statement. Blacks have more than enough reason to be leftist, more than conservative, no matter how you slice it and dice it. How? Because when I think about these Democratic run, predominantly Black cities and neighborhoods, their kids can't read. The investment has gone out of the community. Crime rates are high in places like Chicago, Democratic and Black run. Your children are being slaughtered on the streets by other Black people. Meanwhile, your politicians convince you that white people are the problem. But you're supposed to support the Democrats because of why? Food stamps? Your children are being slaughtered on the streets, but that's okay as long as you get some food stamps. Then you have Democrats who are in support of illegal immigration, all the while convincing you that these illegal immigrants are coming over here and working jobs that you don't want to work, which is a complete lie, because a lot of them completely took over the trucking industry and made it hard for a lot of black women. They will convince you to go to the voting polls and be replaced. And all the conservatives do is say, hey, let's get people that are here illegally out of the country. That way you can have a more competitive job market. Let's support the family. Let's not having people reading books about transgenderism to your children. Let's get to the basics, reading, writing, and arithmetic, which I agree with because y'all's kids can't read. Forget all the extra stuff. Your kids can't read. I was in a Democrat-run district where you have superintendents, black Democrats, superintendents who would get on social media and talk about white racism and Greg Abbott not funding education. Meanwhile, you're funding the education for what? We're funding the education for what? Just so you can steal the money and go buy yourself a mansion? This is what was going on in these black school districts. So what the hell do black people have to lose? People got mad when Donald Trump said it, but it was the truth. What do you have to lose? We believe in Medicare for all, reparations, but Democrats ain't running on no reparations. That is not a major party platform. And the reason why Democrats will not touch reparations is because they know they can't win on that. White Americans nor any other group of American do not want to pay in 2024 black people for slavery that they did not inflict, nor did we go through. Matter of fact, the vast majority of white people never even owned slaves. That would have been something to take up right after the Civil War with slave owners. The vast majority of white people could not afford a slave. And a lot of white people did not enter this country until the Gilded Age in the Second Industrial Revolution as immigrants post-slavery. So it is retarded to expect these people to support a candidate that is talking about reparations for black people in 2025. It's not happening. It's not a winnable talking point. Medicare for all. Democrats talk about Medicare for all. But then you have people like Kamala Harris who flip-flop on her position and she gets to be not only does she get to be vice president, she gets to run for president. So again, it's all talking points. They're not making good on any of this. Welfare benefits. What has though, again, and I'm all for people getting help when they need help. But honestly and truly, what have those welfare benefits done to progress poor black people in a meaningful way? We keep on talking about we still oppressed. Black people been getting welfare since Franklin D. Roosevelt was in office. And still complaining about oppression. So what is the point? More investment in black businesses. People are, you want to know how to get investment in Black businesses, I'm gonna tell you. The best investments are individual Black businesses. Y'all want the government to invest in Black businesses? People don't like that. They don't like that investment off of the basis of race. That too is a losing argument, especially in 2025. You want to know how to get Black people, other races of people, or people with who are wealthier than us to invest in Black communities? Change your behavior. Be trustworthy. Know how to manage and run and operate a business. And I know there are plenty of Black people out here who know how to do that. But reputationally, not just amongst other groups of people, but even within Black communities, in our community, we do not like doing business with other Black people, because a lot of times be trustworthy. Men don't trust other men that don't have wives. They don't loan money to men who don't have wives, children, and stability and things to lose. The majority of Black men don't want to get married. So other men don't trust it. It's not about racism. Men know men. You want people to invest in Black communities, they need to feel like they can open a store in your community and it's not going to get robbed or shot up every other day. Blacks tend to be anti-war and pro-Palestinian and pro-environment. The MAGA is anti-war. MAGA is MAGA. Matter of fact, the only president that was even talking about being anti-war during this last election was Donald Trump. Now, is he making good on that? No. But like, the Democrats were not promising y'all no wars. They didn't promise that because they knew they were intending to go. They were ready. They locked and loaded and ready. So what are you talking about? You have yet to give me any valid reasons as to why Democrats, Black people benefit more by supporting the Democrat Party. Because the fact of the matter is, Black people have been supporting the Democrat Party for a very long time now, since the 1960s, and is worse off.
Them writing stuff down.
They just sitting there.
And when I say it's worse off, I'm not saying white people are oppressing us more. I'm saying culturally, we are worse off.
Like, man, they just sitting there. Like, that's
taking
crazy.
notes.
Like,
This is crazy.
oh my goodness, bro.
I wonder what the crowd look like.
Oh man, me too, bro. It just, oh man. I'm not gonna lie, guys. We were arguing about this a long time after our first Nick Fuentes video. We was arguing about this probably for hours about Black people and Black nations and a lot of stuff. And people were saying I was wrong for my comments, but I wanted people to prove me wrong. Basically, what nation or what can we say that we have built community-wise to prove this point from being wrong? That's why I can't. It's just funny because I'm just laughing off the truth he's saying, brother.
And then another argument that I hear being made is like, well, what's the point? What's the point in trying to build anything? Because they bombed Tulsa, Oklahoma. Y'all will go all the way back. Again, y'all be having to go back decades and decades and decades. Y'all will reach back decades into the past and be like, because of this, we shouldn't try to hold ourselves to a higher standard. And that's not how life works. It's ups and downs in this life. It's ups and downs. Sometimes you try things and they fail. Sometimes people sabotage it. Sometimes there are stumbling blocks in your way. Sometimes you sabotage your own self. There's no shame in that. The shame is in giving up. And a lot of y'all have just given up. And your excuse is white people. White people are a convenient excuse and scapegoat for the reason why a lot of y'all are simply losers or have a loser mentality.
into these. Well, okay, tax dollars built these communities, and they just going into shits, bro. So it's just hard to argue this shit, man. But this shit's funny.
He's
bro.
going pretty hard.
He's going hard as hell, bro.
But
hey,
I'm gonna let him finish.
Yeah, this shit's so funny, bro.
I'm gonna collect my thoughts.
Now, I'm not saying this because I hate black folk. I'm saying it because I love you enough to tell the truth. And the only person going to ever help us get out of the situation is going to be God. There's something wrong with the black man's mind. There's something wrong with his mind. He does not understand the world. He doesn't. I don't care if he learned medicine. He doesn't understand the world. He can't even hold on to Harlem. When he was here, he moved out. We got to talk to the Lord. People, we got to talk to God.